Hi, Pepper. Don't be shy.
You make me discover the world. I never came here before.
I told you, Pepper, we were in Dubai for the government summit.
Oh, that's right.
أشكركم على دعوتكم. إنه لشرف لي أن أكون هنا.
You see, I speak Arabic. What about you, Bruno? Can you speak Arabic?
I don't, but still you are now alive, and you are very good at learning. You can teach me.
As you see, I learn quickly.
You are good. So, okay, so now I think it's my turn. Okay?
Sweet. I will listen too.
Don't be the star when I'm speaking now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to be here and to attend this session. Today, I want to speak with you about robotics. You know, we entered in the world of robots more than 35 years ago, thanks to Hollywood movies, thanks to Star Wars, Star Trek, and all these other movies. But the fact is, where are they? Where are all these robots we spoke about? Why don't we have robots already here? In fact, it has been very, very complicated, very complex to do robots. It has been very complex because it's a tough combination of hardware, of software, of electronics, of plastic, of mechanics. Really, it was tough. And in our world, there are a lot of people that are ready to develop, to program, and to use all the possibilities of robots. But we needed to have physical robots for that. So now, finally, they arrived. I want to give you some examples of robots and what they can do. And then we will go further on this presentation. Here you see high school students using NAO. We are already using, a lot of universities are already using robots to teach programming or to teach this new world of robotics to their students. It's already existing, and what has been discovered based on facts is when students are using robots to learn programming, they are twice more involved in their studies, twice more engaged, because this is the 30th century technologies and no more the 20th century. There are already primary schools students that are learning with NAO. They are learning math or they are learning foreign languages. And something is very interesting that we discovered afterwards with the robots. Something is very interesting is that the robots are not judging. You know, sometimes when you are learning a foreign language, your pronunciation is not that good. I'm sorry for my pronunciation, by the way. I'm French and my English is very bad. But when you have a teacher teaching you, well, I'm not pronouncing correctly, I have to repeat and repeat again, and after some time there is some stress that is getting here. But no stress with the robot. Robot is not judging. If you have the robot teaching math, as we are doing in primary schools too, then the same, the robot is not judging. So it's much easier, much smooth for children and students to learn. We already have a child with autism learning with NAO. NAO here is the tool of the educator. Educator of autistic kids are using NAO to help them learning. You know, autistic kids sometimes have difficulties to interact with people because all the signals, body language or face signals we are sending them when discussing are painful for them. But with robots, it's much more easier, and you can control all the complexity of the signals sent. So it's easier, and we have good results in helping autistic kids to have their IQ growing by 20%. So it's something very, very powerful. We already have dancers and choreographers that are using our robot to perform shows around the world. We have also developers, you know, all these programmers that are using the App Store of Apple, of Google, of the others, to write applications and to make business in selling the applications. We begin to have developers using our robots to program and to sell games to children. So those are games that have been developed by developers. Finally, I want to introduce here Pepper. Pepper has been designed on the request of our customer and main shareholder, SoftBank. SoftBank is a very, very powerful Japanese group in technology, in telecom business, very powerful, investing in different areas, and they wanted to be one of the first introducing robots. So they asked us to design Pepper for them, and it's already in their stores. We already have Pepper in Japan, in SoftBank stores, to attract customers. The first goal, very pragmatical. First goal is to create traffic. Then there are a lot of people saying, oh, I want to come, I want to see the robots. So they're coming into the stores. And once they are into the stores, of course, the salespeople are doing their job. So it's help increasing the traffic and increasing the sales. And it was the first goal for SoftBank. Let me show you a little bit more about those robots. So here I wanted to show you something. I wanted to show you that robots already exist. Finally, they are here. Finally, they arrived. It's possible for everyone to buy robots. So not yet in all the countries. Now can be bought already by developers, by universities, by schools. Pepper is already to be sold to B2B business, and from the next month in Japan to B2C, consumers. So everyone will be able to buy robots, and we are spreading out around the world. So robots are already here, and which is important, all the developers who have very good ideas on what to do with robots can begin using their ideas, implementing, and bringing to all of us the fantastic possibilities of this world of robotics. So before that, I want to tell you a few words about Aldebaran, our vision, because it's a specific one. Aldebaran, we are making cute, humanoid, and kind, or let's say well-intentioned interactive robots. And our goal is to help people. From the beginning of the company, our goal was to help people. We could have helped people with a vacuum cleaner robots or defense robots. It's helping people. But we decided to invest and to try solving what is the most important is joy, happiness, loneliness, connection, well, interaction. So we decided to focus on what is the most important for us, which is interaction. And I have something in mind that helped me from the beginning. In 2003, probably you don't remember, but in Europe, we've had a heat wave. 70,000 old persons died. 70,000 old persons died. Why? They were alone at home. It was very hot, very dry. They didn't drink enough. And then they fall down, and they died, and no one saw that. If they had had a robot at home, the robot would have been able just to see that something was wrong, sending a picture to a call center and having someone coming. So there are things that robot can do, but there is one condition. Robots have to be accepted at home. Old persons have to accept their robot. And if I have a piece of metal or a very mechanical robot at home, my grandmother never will want to have it, never will be okay to interact with. So we need to have robots that people want to have at home. So this is why we decided to go for cute, humanoid, and kind robot. I will go here. Cute, the main goal of cuteness is because what I said, I want people to accept them. And you know, there are some constraints. There are some people saying, well, I wonder whether I want a world with robots. I wonder whether I want to have my children playing with robots or my mother being alone at home with robots. Is it what I want? So then we introduced the robot to these people, And as soon as they saw our Now robot or Pepper, they said, wow, it's so cute, I want it. So cuteness is making people accepting robots. And cuteness is not only a question of design, of appealing design, of looking. It's a question of behavior. It's a question of gesture. It's a question of sound system. It's a question of many, many, many different things. Think about R2-D2 in Star Wars. You know, it's a metallic robot, but with this kind of language, specific one, it's nice, it's cute. So the sound system is part of this cuteness. Then we need something that is more important than cuteness, or as important as cuteness, which is perfectly intuitive and friendly interaction. You know, I don't want to have my mother to have to read and learn a 200 pages book on how to interact with this robot. It has to be absolutely natural. It has to be absolutely intuitive. And what is the most intuitive and natural way to interact is body language. All the people of communication taught us that for years. Maybe more than 60% of communication is through body language, through prosody, through tonality of the voice, through gesture, through all that. And the meaning of the words is something like 20 or 30% of the communication. So why to have kind of Siri or other interactors, voice recognition system embedded in our smartphones that are only focusing on the 20%, 30% of communication? I want to have the robot able to understand 100% of the communication. So this is a question of body language. And look how the body language of those robots are just giving us something very natural. But body language is something going very far. It means understanding emotion of people. So our robots are social robot, emotional robot. I want the robot to be able to understand the meaning. If an old lady is telling my robot, yes, but she's telling that scared, the meaning is not the same that if she's saying yes and very happy. Or if she's saying yes but meaning no. So the most important for the robot is to be able to understand the real message the person wants to say to the robot, and very naturally. And this is a question of, one more time, intensity of the words that are used, but analyze of the face. Are people smiling? Is it a social smile? Is it a real smile? A question of body language, a question of position of the person. You know, when we are interacting with someone and we are very back, or if we are very involved and engaged, the meaning is totally different. So this is what our robots have to be able to understand. Of course, we are at the beginning of the story. As of today, they are not yet ready to do all that. As of today, they are able to understand, let's say, 70% of the fact that in front of the robot, the other interlocutor has positive or negative emotion. Okay, so 70% is, okay, it's positive emotion, it's negative. Positive means happiness, means energy, tonicity, and negative means fear, scared, or sadness. Okay, but only that is something very valuable because it's helping the robot to behave properly. And of course, there is also a program of development to improve that. So emotion is absolutely key in interacting with someone. Here we have now as a storyteller. You know, we have children that like us to repeat and repeat and repeat. Always the same story. Every night, every day is always the same story. Sometimes we get bored with that, but we're happy to tell it. So we can use the robot here too, either to do that or having the robot to behave and tell the story as if it was the parent, or even having registered the parent. So now when you are on a trip, a business trip, you still can have the robot helping. So thanks to this very specific vision, very singular concept, robot has to be well-intentioned, has to be able to understand emotion, has to be able to read the body language and to express with the body language. That means to have hands, arm, head, body. So this is a very specific vision. We are the only one worldwide to do that, and we are in front of all the others. So we really are the world leader in humanoid robotics. And here I want to highlight 2 or 3 facts. Today, there are more than 10,000 users of our robot already. There are more than 450 staff, 480 staff inside Aldebaran. Sorry. But the important part I wanted to stress is the first line. 17,000 robots already sold in 70 countries. That means our robot has to speak a lot of languages, understand a lot of languages. But behind that, we need to have industrial process. We are able to produce thousands of robots monthly. And this is the only way to be able to attend you, to attend everyone. It's the only way to be able to make cheap enough robots. That means we have seen Honda's robot, which is a fantastic robot. I really admire Asimo. It's a fantastic product. But it's not for sale. It's something like $1 million. So that means it's amazing. It's helping us having ideas. But it's not a product that you can have. Our robots are all less than below $10,000. So there are different ranges, but they are all below $10,000. They are all robots that can be used, that can be bought, that can be purchased by people to try, explore, improve. Of course, we are not doing that by our own, alone. Some of the technologies are pure proprietary technologies, but some others are in partnership with large companies around the world. Everyone knows that there will be robots everywhere. Everyone knows that robot will be at the core of Internet of Things. Because when you will be at home, you will have your robot at home. And if you want to control air conditioning system, if you want to control music, lighting, and so on, of course you need to have connected things. And Internet of Things is absolutely fantastic and fundamental. But someone has to explain to your house that when it's you prefer this temperature, or you prefer this music, or someone has to explain that to your connected house. So our robots are perfectly natural interface. We are calling them the ultimate interface because it's absolutely natural to interact, and they can make the link with all the Internet of Things, with all your house, and all your malls, and all your business, and all your stores, everything. So in order to do that, we develop different robots. Here we have 3 of them. We have a Nao that you already know, 60 centimeter. It's very good for education. It's very good for children robot. It's very good too for elderly. We have now used in elderly houses. And here I want to tell you something, in retired houses, sorry. I want to tell you something that is very strange, and you will be surprised. Our robots, in fact, are helping people to be more human. Very often we are saying, wow, robot is deshumanization. But it's the opposite around. When you are going in a retired house, all of us have been sometimes, it's very sad. There are a lot of people, everyone is alone, without speaking in his place, and it's very sad mood, ambience. And when you put one of our robots here, and it's done, we already have partners that are doing that, then immediately people are beginning to discuss, to speak, are beginning to smile, are beginning to interact. So it's bringing something different. So it's something important for us. So we have now, we have Pepper that has been designed more for B2B, more for stores. Pepper is used, has been used already by SoftBank in their stores in Japan. But now we have Nestlé. Nestlé, you know this company doing Nespresso and the coffee makers and so on. They are using Pepper in their stores for one more step in front. It's not only to attract consumers, it's to attract people, but then it's to help selling. So it's already an assistant to salespeople. Pepper is asking you, oh, how are you drinking your coffee usually? Are you drinking alone, with your family? Which kind of coffee? How often are you drinking the coffee? And then he's able to tell, okay, so the best coffee maker for your needs is this one. And advising which kind of product is the best fitting with customer needs. And then you have the salespeople coming and concluding the deals. So it's what's happening. Then we have Romeo, larger size one. This one is more like Asimo. It's more a prototype, a research prototype, because it's a robot able to help standing up someone who falls down. So this robot is very strong. And because it's very strong, then we have problems of safety. So as of today, it's only a research prototype dedicated to help solving this question of safety. We are working with research labs around the world who are helping us saving this question of safety. But the robot is not enough when you have only the robot. You need to program the robot. You need to control it. So if I'm spending hundreds of people to have the robot. If you need hundreds of people to write application, well, no one will use it. So we've designed some tools that turn very, very, very easy to program the robot. Everyone, every single child, a 5-year-old child, in 15 minutes, no more, will have done his first program. He will have done a program where the robot will welcome you, recognize your face, say hello, a few words, something very simple. But really, 15 minutes, everyone will have done a program, and then will be attracted into programming. And it's a fantastic way to attract all the children and students toward programming, which is one of our the main challenge of our societies. And of course, behind programming, you have the App Store. So we have an App Store with many applications, the same kind like you have for the smartphones, very same. We already have a few hundreds of developers developing, and you know, they are developing many, many different things. Sometimes it's geek stuff without any interest. So someone has made the robot just feeding his cat when he was on holiday. So now was coming, opening the cupboard, taking the box, putting the box in the plates, and that's it. So now he's able to feed his cat when he's not here on holiday. Another one is playing flute. But she is used, it's a lady, she is used to play flute in a band. So when she wants to train, she's alone without the band. So she programmed her robot to play the partition of the band. So go ahead, next speed, I don't know how to say that for the music. And then he is able to train together with the robot playing as a, but you know, those are geek stuff, developer stuff, and they are beginning to explore and explore and explore. Some are doing games for children. One is doing a game where the robot is playing a dance and the child has to repeat and playing. And in fact, it's bringing a lot of fun to the children. Another one is programming a game, kind of Trivial Pursuit, where the robot is asking questions and understanding the answer. But here is something very smart. The robot is able to recognize that this child, he's recognizing faces, each time has difficulties with mental computation, calculation. So then he is able to find a way to come back and to try helping him going further and progressing. So the robot as an entertainment as well as education tool is fantastic. And this is the birth of a new industry. Programming application for robots as well as it has been for smartphones. Look at the number of hundreds of thousands of millions of people that are living from programming application in companies or alone for the smartphone. The same is going to come for the robots. We already have some companies dedicated to programming applications for our robots. It's already existing. It's the beginning of the ecosystem. Now we've created something that we are calling atelier, like in Clause's atelier, where we want people to be able to discover this specific concept of our robots. It's a specificity. It's not like other robotics companies that are very often coming from industrial world and performing fantastic tasks, very good robots, but just for other purposes. This one is for interacting with people. Our robots have to be at the core of your family, and which is creating some question marks. So then, for this very specific concept, we've created atelier in Paris, in Tokyo, where people can come. It's open to everyone. Come and discover these robots and this new world. If we look at the big picture behind the facts, and I will keep the words of Bill Gates, he's forecasting a world where each and every people, each and every household will have a robot at home. Everyone will have a robot, the same as he has seen in the past that everyone would have computers. And when he said that in the early 80s, well, a lot of people were saying, wow, he's crazy. What are people going to do with these computers? We have seen, because each time I had to look for investors, they are asking me, but what for, which are the purposes? So I got back to the past looking videos, the first videos where they introduced the first Apple II or the first PET from Commodore. And all the journalists were wondering, but this is stuff for engineers, this is stuff for geeks. But who will use that? It was very expensive, it was totally useless. But it changed the world. And the very same is going to come with the robot. But now that the robots are existing, it's going to come in 2015. And finally, another important point here, one of the new business for this next decades is about the big data. Big data because it's a way to collect a lot of things about everything, a lot of data about everything, and then analyzing, helping you improving your health, improving your life, improving how you are living with your family and with others. So very powerful. Big data, the source of big data are the data. So who will get the data? A lot of sensors, a lot of computers, a lot of many, many places. But robot has a way to get data that no one else will be able to get. I don't know, are you eating when you are at home, dinner or lunch, all together, all the family, straight at noon or more or less? Everyone is coming separately. These are very valuable things that company may use. It's not very intrusive data for you, but it's helping you. Company can use that to help you. The same with all your wellness, your health. Sorry, your health. When you can have robot knowing whether you are walking a lot, whether you are sitting a whole day long in a seat, things that are very close to your real life that is very difficult from your computer or your smartphone to get and to know, where the robot can know that. So it's very important. But of course, and I stress this point in my presentation, there is a risk with the big data, because the last thing we want to have is a spying robot. So we need to have a very well-intentioned digital friend, well-intentioned robot designed by companies with a very high level of ethics, ethical rules, because it's absolutely key if we want people to accept the robot and get all the benefits of the robot. So our robots, which are more, let's say, right-brained robots than left-brained robots, more emotional robots than useful and totally mechanical robots, are in a good place to help people, to create this friendly world around them. So if we look at that, as Bill Gates said, comparing what is happening with the robotics with some other industries that happened in the past, we are more or less here. Here you have the first Apple II. You have the first PET of Commodore. You have one. Oh, you have one of the first mobile phones here. Well, it was more a carryable phone than a mobile phone. But you know where this drove the world. The same is going to come with robotics. So now I want to finish with one use case about education, STEM education, and a movie.
Well, when I grow up, I like to be an engineer. It's like a guide to being an engineer. It's like it gives you all the basic stuff about what happens in robots, mice, and stuff.
Here at the School of Education and Human Development at the University of Miami, we're using the humanoid robot now in 3 different programs in elementary school.
STEM program is science, technology, engineering, and math.
The robot is educational. I hope that when I grow up, I get to work with the same thing, like robots and programming.
The Now robotics helps them take to fruition what they've done on the computers and with programming and such.
So when I first saw Now, I was shocked because it was a real robot, like standing right in front of me.
I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm looking at a robot right now.
We've done Hour of Code last year. Before we just did it on the touch screen on the computer, but now we have the robots here actually walking and talking and engaging, so the kids are really ripped about doing it.
The way to program now is we find it so easy for kids, especially in the elementary level. The second thing is the way Now looks, its design, its appearance, its size, its sound are really crucial.
I was like, ooh, do we get to work with it? And then they said, yes, you do. You get to program it to turn right, left, 90 degrees, and stuff like that.
It's showing us a whole different way of science. We have like a textbook, you're inferencing of what's happening, but here you actually get to do it.
So we entered in the digital world. We all are in the digital world. And in the digital world, everything will be digital. And in the digital world, programming is something absolutely key. President Obama said that he wanted each and every American student to learn programming languages as if it was a foreign language. but it's very smart. We all entered in the digital world. All the jobs will be hurt or changed or adapted or boosted by digital. And we need to have all our children or our students to be very comfortable with these technologies. So we have to teach all of them how to program, And robots are other tools are able to do the same, but robots are one of the very powerful and attractive tools. You've seen, they're happy to go and to deal with robots. So this world is now a reality. We have the robots, we have the programming tools, and now there are companies and people and ecosystem programming, using the robot. And in very short, we will have robots in each and every stores, each and every restaurant, each and every mall, each and every airport, and then in each and every household for elderly first and then for everyone. It's really a new industry coming, and thanks to this robot everywhere, it will help having people focused on what is more valuable, the more important, the more delicate things, and not spending their professional life in doing things that could be done by a robot. And of course, this will have an impact on employment in the good sense. This maybe can we speak about that later on. This will have impact on value of what people will do in their job. But this will help simplifying things that are very simple and focusing people on what is important. And this is how it will change our society. Thank you.